Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial as reported by Inner City Press. The courtroom was already heavy with emotion from weeks of devastating testimony when Mary J. Blige entered on Thursday morning. Known throughout her career as the Queen of Hip-Hop Soul, she carried herself with the dignity that had defined her three-decade journey through the music industry. But as she approached the witness stand, those familiar with her work could see something different, a vulnerability that even her most personal songs had only hinted at. Dressed in a simple black dress with minimal jewelry, Mary J. Blige looked older than her years as she was sworn in. Her hands trembled slightly as she placed them on the Bible, and when asked to state her name for the record, her usually powerful voice was barely above a whisper. Mary Jane Blige, she said, then cleared her throat and repeated it more clearly. Prosecutor Jennifer Walsh approached with evident respect for the witness. Ms. Blige, thank you for your courage in appearing here today. Could you please tell the court about your professional relationship with Sean Combs? Mary J. Blige took a steadying breath. Sean, Mr. Combs, he discovered me when I was just 19 years old. I was working at a mall singing for whoever would listen, and he gave me my first real chance in the music industry. For years, I considered him my mentor, my big brother, someone who believed in me when nobody else would. How would you characterize your relationship with him over the years? It was complicated. She paused, her eyes glistening. He launched my career, helped me become who I am today. But he also controlled every aspect of my life for many years. Where I lived, who I talked to, what I wore, who I dated. At the time, I thought that was normal. I thought that was just how the industry worked. Did your relationship with Mr. Combs continue after your initial success? Yes, we remained close even after I established more independence. He would still call me for advice about new artists he was working with, especially young women. He said he valued my perspective because I had survived the game. Her voice caught slightly on the last words. Ms. Blige, are you familiar with Cassandra Ventura? At the mention of Cassie's name, Mary J. Blige's composure began to crack. She reached for a tissue from the box placed beside the witness stand. Yes, I know Cassie. I watched her come up in the industry. Beautiful girl, talented, but so young when Sean first started working with her. Did you have concerns about their relationship? Mary J. Blige nodded, tears now flowing freely. From the beginning, I saw how he looked at her, how he talked about her. It reminded me of how he used to control me, but worse. With me, it was business mixed with personal. With Cassie, it was like he owned her. Can you describe a specific incident that concerned you? There were many, but she took a shaky breath. There was one night in 2014. I got a call from Cassie around 2 a.m. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. She said she was at a hotel in Miami and needed help. She begged me to come get her. The courtroom was completely silent, except for the sound of Mary J. Blige's quiet sobs. What did you do? I got dressed and drove to the hotel immediately. When I got there, Cassie was in the lobby, still in a dress from whatever event she'd been at, but it was torn. She had bruises on her arms. She looked terrified. Did she tell you what had happened? She said she and Sean had been at a party with some executives and investors. She said things got out of hand. That's how she put it. She said Sean had given her something to drink that made her feel strange. And when she tried to leave, he got angry. She said he told her she couldn't leave until she finished her obligations to the business. Mary J. Blige paused to compose herself, wiping her eyes with a tissue. She said she managed to lock herself in a bathroom and called me from there. She climbed out a window to get to the lobby. What happened next? I took her back to my house. She was shaking, couldn't stop crying. She kept saying, I can't do this anymore, Mary. I can't keep pretending this is normal. She begged me to help her get away from him. Did you try to help her? I wanted to. God knows I wanted to. Mary J. Blige's voice broke completely. But Cassie was so scared of what Sean might do. She said he had videos, pictures, things that could destroy her career and her reputation. She said he had told her that if she ever left him, he would make sure she never worked in the industry again, and that everyone would see her at her worst. What did you advise her to do? I told her she should go to the police. that what was happening to her wasn't right. But she said who would believe her against Sean Combs? He was too powerful, had too many connections. She said even if she reported it, he would just make it go away and then make her life hell. Did Cassie return to Mr. Combs after this incident? Mary J. Blige nodded miserably. 2 days later, Sean called me. He was furious. He said Cassie had run off and asked if I had seen her. I lied and said no. But then he said something that chilled me to the bone. What did he say? He said, Mary, you know how much I love you and respect what we've built together. But if you're helping Cassie make poor decisions, that would really disappoint me. And you know how I handle disappointment. It wasn't a direct threat, but I knew exactly what he meant. What happened after that conversation? Within hours, Cassie called me crying again. She said Sean had found her at her sister's house, that he had convinced her family that she was having a breakdown and needed to come home with him. She said she couldn't fight anymore, that she was going back. How did you feel about that? I felt like I had failed her, like I was a coward. Mary J. Blige broke down completely, her shoulders shaking with sobs. I should have done more. I should have protected her better. But I was scared too. I knew what Sean was capable of. Did you continue to have contact with Cassie after she returned to Mr. Combs? Sporadically. She would call me sometimes when things got really bad, but she made me promise never to try to intervene again. She said it just made things worse for her when Sean thought other people were turning her against him. Were there other instances where you witnessed concerning behavior from Mr. Combs toward Miss Ventura? Many. At industry events, I would watch how he monitored everything she did, who she talked to, how long she was away from his side, even how she posed for pictures. If she did anything he didn't approve of, I could see him getting angry. And later she would tell me about the consequences. What kind of consequences? He would isolate her for days, take away her phone, cancel her recording sessions. Sometimes she would show up to events with new bruises that she would cover with makeup. When people asked, she was trained to say she was clumsy or had fallen. Ms. Blige, did you ever witness Mr. Combs being physically violent toward Ms. Ventura? Not directly, but she hesitated. There was one time at a studio session in 2016. I was there working on a collaboration when Sean and Cassie arrived. They had clearly been arguing. I was in the booth recording when I heard shouting from the hallway. Then I heard what sounded like someone being slammed against a wall. What did you do? I stopped recording and went to see what was happening. When I opened the door, Sean was standing over Cassie, who was on the floor holding her shoulder. Sean saw me and immediately changed his demeanor, became charming again. He said Cassie had tripped and he was helping her up. How did Cassie appear? Terrified. She wouldn't look at me directly. She just kept apologizing to Sean, saying she was sorry for being clumsy. It broke my heart because I recognized that behavior. I had done the same thing years earlier when I was under his control. The prosecutor approached closer to the witness stand. Ms. Blige, you mentioned recognizing that behavior from your own experience. Could you elaborate? Mary J. Blige wiped her eyes again. When I was young and Sean was managing my career, he controlled everything about my life. If I did something he didn't approve of, there would be consequences. Not always physical, but psychological, financial, professional. He had a way of making you feel like you owed him everything, and that any independence was a betrayal. Did you ever try to warn other young women in the industry about Mr. Combs? I tried, but it was difficult. Sean was so powerful, and these young women were so grateful for the opportunities he was giving them. When I would try to warn them, they often thought I was jealous or bitter. And Sean was very good at making anyone who spoke against him look unstable or vindictive. Why didn't you come forward publicly with these concerns? Because I was terrified, she admitted through tears. Sean made it clear that he could destroy careers just as easily as he made them. I had worked too hard to build my independence to risk losing everything, and I thought, I hope someone else would speak up, someone braver than me. What changed that brought you here today? When Cassie finally found the courage to come forward publicly, I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. I had been carrying this guilt for years, knowing I could have done more to help her. When I saw her testimony, saw her strength, I realized that my silence had been part of the problem. Mary J. Blige looked directly at the jury. That young woman survived something that could have destroyed her completely. The least I can do is tell the truth about what I witnessed. During cross-examination, defense attorney Patricia Moore attempted to discredit Mary J. Blige's testimony by suggesting she harbored resentment toward Combs over business disputes. But Mary J. Blige remained steadfast. Ma'am, Sean Combs made me a millionaire and a star. I have no financial reason to lie about him. I'm here because I failed to protect someone I cared about when she needed me most, and I won't fail her again. As Mary J. Blige prepared to step down from the witness stand, she asked if she could address Cassie directly. Judge Williams granted permission. Cassie, if you're watching this, I want you to know how sorry I am. I should have been braver. I should have done more. But I want you to know that what happened to you wasn't your fault. You were just a young woman trying to make it in an industry that failed to protect you. I'm proud of your strength in coming forward, and I hope my testimony helps give you some measure of justice. The courtroom remained silent for several moments after Mary J. Blige finished speaking. Even seasoned court reporters were visibly moved by her testimony. Outside the courthouse, Cassie Ventura released a statement through her attorney, Mary J. Blige has always been more than a mentor to me. She's been a survivor who understood when others couldn't. Her courage in speaking her truth today means everything to me and to every woman who has suffered in silence. That evening, Shucker Mary J. Speaks became a trending topic on social media, with thousands of survivors sharing their own stories of witnesses who they wished had spoken up sooner, and those who eventually found the courage to break their silence. The impact of Mary J. Blige's testimony extended beyond the courtroom. Within 48 hours, 3 major music industry organizations announced new protocols for reporting and investigating abuse allegations, specifically acknowledging the need to protect witnesses who come forward with information about powerful figures. Disclaimer: the content above is entirely fictional and created for entertainment purposes only. No verified court evidence or official statements confirm these claims.